Hey there, everybody. I am Debbie Crowley from ExpressivelyDeb.com, and welcome. So it's been a little while, and since I've done a project video, and I've had actually some wonderful family time. We've had some wonderful celebrations going on in the family. One of the most important and happy occasions is on its way. Probably within a few weeks, I am going to become a grandma. And I am so excited about that. So I've been, I've been stamping and cutting lots of paper. We had a baby shower celebration, and I'm in the process of making a baby album. So this is happy news. Anyway, I saw this card in my travels through the internet, and I call it maybe a tuck flap fun fold. I would call it a tuck, because you tuck the flap underneath and it opens like this. I love the way it opens and how the flap, one flap is tucked under the other. And I did this one with this was with the Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper. And this one was with the Boho Vibes Designer Series paper, which this paper is really, really neat. A lot of fun to work with. So today, I thought that I would go ahead and use the beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper. And the piece that we're going to work with is actually this one. And you'll see how I cut that. So we'll have another different card. This one is a generic sending warm wishes. This one is a Happy Father's Day card. And I'm going to do today's card with the beautiful Galleries paper for Father's Day. The card base is 10 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches. So I'm going to have to open up the arm of the paper trimmer and cut this. So I'm going to cut it at 5.5. And you do use a whole sheet of paper, but you use a whole sheet of paper with all of the cardstock layer side you're going to use. So there really isn't a waste. And then this one is 10 3/4 inches across. Let me just find that. Okay, now the scoring on this score line. So 1 5/8 inches. The next one is 3 1/4. Now 7.5. And then move it over to 9 1/8 of an inch. And your scoring is done. Or you can score your cardstock on the 10 3/4 inch side, the long side, at the top. You can score it at 1 5/8. On this side, move it over to 3 1/4, score, and then you can flip it, rotate it, and go from the other side and do the same thing. 1 5/8 and 3 1/4, whichever you find easier. So I actually just put it in and just kept going with it. So I find that a little bit easier. So the card base is 10 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches. And you're scoring at 1 5/8, 3 1/4, 7.5, and 9 1/8. And that's it. We don't need the trimmer. I did do all the cuts. So now you're going to fold your card base. So the first flap gets folded backward, or it's a mountain fold. The second flap folded to you, or a valley fold. The third flap is a valley fold. And the fourth score line flap is a mountain, or folded back. And that's your card base. It looks like that. Okay. So we have mountain, valley, valley, mountain. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and burnish the score lines. Okay, so that's your card base. Now, you have to cut another from the scrap. After we cut the 5.5 inches off the 8.5 by 11, what we're going to do is take this and we're going to cut, okay, so the large front left panel, which is this panel on the card, this one, okay, on the left-hand side, we're cutting the cardstock layer now. So this panel is 3 inches by 4.5 inches. So this piece that we had cut off the cardstock piece is 3 inches. So we don't have to measure that. So we're just going to take it over to 4.5 inches. And that's that panel. And then the second panel, which is on the right-hand side, which is this one, the top panel, it's the smaller cardstock layer. This one is 3 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So we'll cut that. Okay, so now we have our basics done. This piece will go on the card first. This is the inside layer, and your writing layer will go on top of this. Okay, so this layer is 4. I believe this one is 4 inches by 5.5 inches. It's going to go on the inside of the card base and just center it in between the 2 score lines. And I always make sure give it a pat at the bottom just to make sure it's even on both sides, because this will be 4 inches across, 5.5 inches in length. And that is the inside of the card. Now, the writing layer is a basic white writing layer, and I'll give you the dimensions for that. The writing layer is 3 1/4 inches by 4.5. So 3 1/4 across, 4.5 in length. And that's going to get centered on here, but I don't want to glue that in yet until I glue on my panels. Okay, and the second thing we're going to do is put on the 2 side panels. So if you look at the piece of paper that I used, this was the pattern from the Beautiful Gallery. That Beautiful Gallery, look at that pattern. Isn't that gorgeous? The Beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper is absolutely stunning. So I thought to use this pattern, something a little different. And when I see a pattern like this, I always try to figure out a way to strategically cut it so that I could get the most out of it, especially when it's a 6x6. And this paper pack, the Beautiful Gallery paper pack, is a 6x6. So if you look, this is the top of this. I used another sheet to cut the top off of that, which you could see, this was the sheet that I used. So I just cut the 2 side panels from the top of this. Although they have beautiful patterns, more generic patterns on the back of these each of the patterns, I really like the way this looks. I don't know, it's a mix of basic beige and gray granite. The colors in here are just gorgeous. So I wanted to keep in line with the pattern in the paper. Yes, 1.5 by 5 3/8. So this is 1.5 inches by 5 3/8. Okay, and the same thing on this side. Both side panels are the same. 1.5 across by 5 3/8 in length. Not in that layers. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's on. So these are our 2 side panels, and the center panel is in there. Now we're going to work on the, I guess you would call them the flap panels, right? So this is the back of one of the patterns in the beautiful gallery. So this is the larger of the two cardstock panels, okay? So this pattern paper piece will measure, this is the front left, 2 7/8 inches by 4 3/8. 2 7/8 across, 4 3/8 in length. And it will go on to the top panel that we had. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach that. I thought this was a little different. And what I'm going to do is, you see the green in here? You see there's more green down at the bottom here, along the edge here, and on this side, on the left side. I'm going to use that side on the left side of the panel, because it shows more green, and I want more green to come up to the front, and you'll see why once we put it together. So this panel is going to get attached on this side of the card front, okay? Very simple. This, and I did this on purpose, I wanted to show you, this piece measures 2 7/8 inches by 3 5/8. 2 7/8 across, 3 5/8 in length. It's longer than 3 5/8, and I'm going to show you why. This piece that I previously cut is the right measurement, but I wanted more of the sky to show. When I put it on, originally I didn't want that. I wanted the flowers to show here at the bottom. And then when I put it on, I thought, no, I felt like I needed a little more light whites in the paper. So I kept this piece to show you, when you're strategically cutting your paper, always have a visual of how you want it to look. So see, I like the way it looks better with more of the sky here and a smaller amount of the flowers. So that's the reason I saved this piece to show you. And I'll probably use this on another card. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and cut this. I didn't do that on purpose because I wanted you to see it. So this piece is 2 7/8 by 3 5/8. So it's 2 7/8 across and 3 5/8. You know, I think I'm going to take just a little bit off the top, because I'm going to have a sentiment going, and now I'm going to measure my 3 5/8. I took about 1/4 of an inch off the top. I'm going to have a sentiment across the bottom, so I want a little bit of this here to show where the flowers come up onto the grass. Okay, so that's the piece we need. But I got what I wanted. I got more of the lighter gray granite and basic beige in there. Okay, so this is... Okay, so now this card base, front left, and front right. You see? I think it looks pretty. And I'm really happy I didn't use the white matte layers. If you want, of course, use them by all means, and then the sentiment is going to go across here. And if you see, close the card front, close up your card base again, and we're going to put this where it is over well, I'm going to say about 1/2 inch from the edge of this Mossy Meadow layer. is about a 1/2 inch from the card base, from the left side. And then make sure there's equal distance on the top and bottom when you glue it on. But now we're only going to glue about 1.25 inches on the back of the left side of this panel, okay? So just about 1.25 inches, and I think we'll be safe with that. You can make a little pencil mark on yours if you, feel that you want to. And you can do that by measuring this way and put a pencil mark. See, I can probably get another line of glue here. There we go. And then so you can put your card face down and just put it there, put a little pencil mark here, a pencil mark there, so you'll know where to place your glue. So this glue goes only on about 1/4 inch on the back of the left side of this panel. And then close your card, and this gets attached to the panel. Just making sure that you have the same amount of distance and make sure it's straight. Because if it's not straight along this side, what's going to happen is when you go to tuck, your tuck is going to be off. So if that makes sense to you. So same distance here to here, and then roughly a little smaller. I'm going to say this is probably 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch from maybe 1/2 inch. Well, instead of guessing, Debbie, let's measure. It is just about a little over 1/4 inch. Little over 1/4 inch from the edge of the green cardstock, the edge of the layer here, to the side, the left side of the card base. Okay, so that is the first panel. The second panel, there's going to be a little wear and tear on this panel, and if you see, as you can see, the area is a lot smaller. The back of this panel, this section here on the back, is a lot smaller than the 1.25 inches that we had on this side. So I'm going to use tear and tape for this one, because this is going to get some of the pull, and the area is smaller, so I want to be sure the tear and tape is a little bit stronger. So we're going to put the tear and tape on the back of the right side of this layer, right up onto the edge. So it's going to go right as close, if you can see what I'm doing, as close to the edge of the card layer, the back of the card layer, as you can get it. And this is the I believe it's 1/4 inch tear and tape. Give it a little cut. And I'm just going to give the tear and tape a little burnish, just to get some of the, if there's any air bubbles. It doesn't look like there is, but we want to make sure. And then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and I know I have it here. Here we go. And I'm just going to go from the side. It's a lot easier. I'm just kind of lift. Now what I'm going to do here is not pull it off completely. If you can see, I'm folding it on the back, okay? It's going to be a lot easier to place when you do that. So I'm folding it on the back, so I have this little tab that's out on the front. Now what I'm going to do is place it. Now I'm not putting it down. You can see I'm kind of holding it up on the right-hand side here. And I'm just going to center it. I want to have... I think that looks good. So we have the same distance here to here and here to here. What we want is we want the symmetry. We want it to, this can even come over a little bit. So I wanted it to go where these two panels are more or less centered on the card front, okay? And that looks good. So what I'm going to do, remember, I pulled the little tab down, so the tear and tape that's behind this part of the layer, on the back of the right corner up here of the layer, is exposed. So the glue is exposed. So I'm just going to press it down. And then I'm just going to hold my hand so that this layer stays in place. And I'm just going to pull this off. And that's it. Bushman on, it's going to be pretty. So this is going to set right in the center. But I just want to make sure if I put it in the center. Okay. It doesn't show a little bit on the top. See, that's what you check for. Okay, so I had it a little high on the top. So let's hope I get it in the right spot now. Again, you can make a pencil mark if you feel more comfortable doing that. Pull this to me a little bit. Okay, it's good. Now you see what I did? I just pushed the layer over but didn't press it down yet. I use glue, so I do have some of the wiggle room. You notice how I have the sentiments going this way on this card and this way on this card as well to the right. Well, on this one, I'm going to move it to the left because this panel is not quite centered, this top panel, because I left more room on the sides because I wanted to be sure that tear and tape didn't stick. When I did it the first time, I put the tear and tape on and it's right up against on the inside. You can't see that because the flap goes in there. And what happened was when I closed this the first time, it literally, you see, it kind of, so it's grabbing the tear and tape a little bit. So I've been playing with this one. So I wanted to be sure that this just slid right out. The Boho Vibes was the second one I did. So when I did that, I was very conscious of not having it, this side stick to the inside there. When I put the tear and tape on the back of this panel on this one, this was the first one I did. I put it a little too far over. So that's why I was stressing to you, put it as close to the edge as possible on the back of this. And the tear and tape is 1/4 inch. So if you have the 1/4 inch clearance there, which we have plenty here, it'll be fine. Okay, this is one of the sentiments that is from I think I pulled them out here to show you. Let's see. Yeah. Excuse me. Greetings for all. It's the mix and match. And they're already stamped and you just punch them out. They're little punch outs. And I will have the link for this as well. But Stampin' Up! Has that, the mix and match product line. Back to the card. So I am going to go ahead. This is 1/2 inch, by the way. And it fits perfectly on this 3 inch. So it's 2 7/8 inches by 1/2 inch. That's the sentiment strip. So what I'm going to do is cut this cardstock. We know it's, the width is good. It's 3 inches. But, what did I say? 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go to 3/8 inch on this. Let me just make sure it's in the right spot. A little bit, see, same distance here, and then our little sentiment, this here. Oh, and be careful, you don't want to put glue on the back of the, okay. Okay. So when I put the glue on, I really didn't put glue on the back of that, of the back of the left side of the sentiment. And here it is. That's it. So we have our writing layer on the inside, which you can't see until you open it. And then we'll do a little bit of embellishing. Okay, that's good. So can you see, I don't know if you can see the sheen in these, but there's a beautiful, like an ivory sheen in them. And I just thought that they would look nice with this. So that's it. You have the 3 cards, totally different. Hope you enjoyed this. I really do love this little fun fold. And look at that. I just love the way that slides. This is still sticking a little. It's still, I don't know which one my favorite is. I like them all. I like them all for different reasons. But I am so partial to blue that I think this one is my favorite. The Floral Blooms card. It's a little thick. It will fit into the envelope. I did try it. It does fit into the medium-sized A2 envelope. But you may, if you're mailing it out, you may require a little extra postage because it is a little bit, it has a little bit of weight to it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, as always, you can reach out to me. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by. And as always, express your creativity, and the only limitation is your imagination. Have a wonderful day.